It's clear that there's things going on around the world that we really don't have control over. Things that are just getting worse on a day by day basis. We see it nationally where, there's school shootings, there's issues in the government, lies within politicians, beef in the streets. You see people driving crazy, people acting crazy towards each other because of whatever race you may be, or just however you look, things like that. Kids swearing to each other, kids fighting, bullying, parents giving them that sort of example at home. And we see this like on a global scale as well, where, there's civil wars, there's rumors of wars, there's actual wars, there's people who have been starving for years, epidemics, we just had COVID on the global scale. And I know the first thing that happens to some of us, we tend to worry. I'm a worrier. I worry often. There's some of us that just blow it off. We're like, it's not my business. It's not something I'm involved in, so I don't really care about it. That's fine. But to some of us who do worry, who do want to see a change, who do want to see a difference, I think as the world continues to get worse and worse, it's our job, it's our duty, it's our responsibility to also do the best, do our best, right? There's that hustle mentality, that hustle culture where we want to strive to be best. We want to have the best car, the most money, the best house, the most well dressed. We talk about those material things that really don't get us anywhere. Sure, they make you look good, but at the end of the day, that's basically it. You look good, you live comfortably, but you still feel empty. And I think it's important that we realize that we have 4 states within our human bodies. We have that physicality, we have the mentality, we have emotional, and we're also a spiritual being. There's 4 parts to each one of us. And when we talk about having a nice car, having a nice house, being well dressed, smelling good, things like that, we're taking care of our physicality, right? And maybe you're one of those individuals that also likes to work out, or enjoys a nice meal. Nothing's wrong with that. However, we still have 3 other needs that we got to take care of. We got to make sure that we are emotional beings, that we take care of our emotions. One thing I've been learning lately is that, I grew up, and I don't blame my parents for this, but I grew up where if I would cry, my parents would be like, suck it up. Stop crying. You're a big kid now. You don't need to be crying. Los hombres no lloran, right? The men don't cry. And I've kind of practiced that with my son sometimes. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Sometimes it's a little annoying to hear him crying, yelling, screaming at the top of his lungs. I get it. It's a little frustrating sometimes. But at the same time, I also got to realize, and I've been practicing this a little bit better, I'm letting him cry because crying helps him heal better. It helps us heal better. That whole mentality about being machismo, being strong, los hombres no lloran, that type of mentality, that harms us. We gotta let our kids cry. We gotta let them start healing through that process. There was one incident that I had with my son where, he wasn't behaving, and I told him some things, and it made him cry. And I let him cry. I let him cry it out. And I sat next to him. And I held him, I hugged him. And after a few minutes, and I'm talking about like 3 to 4 or 5 minutes, that I let him cry, I told him, I'm like, hey, if I was in your situation, I would feel the same way. I would feel sad too. I would cry too. I'm like, but this is an opportunity where you can realize what you did and try to do better. Try to do better with the actions that you take. Because again, this is an opportunity for him to let it out, let that frustration out, and also heal himself. Because if we keep that stuff bottled up inside of us, eventually, after so many times, we're going to blow up. And that's what we see a lot with kids nowadays. We toughen them up. We don't let them have an emotional stability. And then they go rampant. They go crazy. They bully other kids. They go out and shoot. other kids. And I mean, I'm not saying this is the only reason why this happens, but this is a part of this situation. So we got to take care of our emotions. We got to take care of our kids' emotions. And we also got to take care of our spirituality. A lot of times we all have a gap inside of us, a void inside of us. And we think that we can fill this void with women or men, with material things, with friends, family. And I'm not saying a lot of these things are bad. I'm just saying we're trying to fill the void with the wrong thing. That void was intently created for us so that we can fill it up with the Holy Spirit. And I know some of you guys are going to be like, well, hold on. I'm done with this video because you're talking about nonsense. It's the truth. It's like the saying says, like, if you were to stand outside on a windy day, you would feel the wind. You can't see it, but you can feel it. How is it that you can't see something, but you feel it, therefore you believe it? That's the same thing with the Holy Spirit. You might have not felt it because you haven't had a spiritual encounter with the Holy Spirit, but it's real. It's out there. Some of us have felt it. If you were open and willing to feel it, to let it fill your spirit, let it fill your body, you would feel it. That's the same thing. How is it that you believe in the wind, but you don't believe in the Spirit if you've never felt it? So my point is, we got to take care of ourselves. Mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. If we want to see a difference in this world, there's so many things that are happening that are just going to continue happening. But if we can stabilize our lives, we can stabilize ourselves, whatever happens in this world, at the end of the day, will not worry us. It will not break us down because we are individuals who are strong-minded, where we can take it. And at the end of the day, we know that there's somebody higher than us who will pave the way for us. There's a thing that we as believers believe, and it's that no matter what happens here on earth, we're taken care of, because we believe that after this life, we will have a better life in the presence of God, with God. There will be no more suffering. There will be no more pain. So whatever happens in this fragile life, in this planet, it can happen. Whatever it is, let it be. Because at the end of the day, this life that we live is the only thing that keeps us away from being in the presence of God. That's why you see individuals like us that we do our best, but we are together. We're put together as best as we can as a human being. Because clearly, while we're in this body, we're not perfect. We will never be perfect, but we can try to be. We can try to live perfect. That's having your life put together, not being well-dressed, well-groomed, driving the latest car, having the biggest house. It's about keeping yourself together, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. Keeping it together because God keeps us together.